We have a very special guest in studio today. He's a friend of mine. We used to train together back in the day, and he's a fighter. He does multitude of different martial arts. The great and powerful Kendall Whitehead. Welcome.
Welcome, man.
Welcome. Welcome.
Hello.
Glad to have you.
Well, Kendall, you and I we were trained together at Finney's back in the day, and you came in as a wrestler, and then kind of eventually transitioned more into MMA.
Sir.
What talk to me about kind of what that transition was like what was going from wrestling to mixed martial arts like?
Yeah, so I pretty much grew up around wrestling. My dad, big wrestler. He was a 3-time state champion in Oklahoma. Went to the University of Oklahoma to wrestle. So wrestling's like always been around.
In the blood.
Yeah, oh yeah. My older brothers wrestled. They were state champs. So it was kind of
St. Louis.
No, Oklahoma as
Right.
well. Yeah.
Is that where you grew up?
I didn't grow up. I was born in Oklahoma. I grew up in St. Louis,
Okay.
so I claim St. Louis whenever anybody asks. But yeah, I was born in Tulsa, moved to St. Louis when I was about 6 or 7 years old. So, like I said, I don't really know much about Oklahoma, but yeah, my brothers were state champs. I just always watched wrestling, so I was like, man, I have no choice. So I tried it out. I didn't get that state champion status. I always joked that wrestlers are better in my era of
Yeah.
wrestling, but I always loved it though. Just the grind, always just having to have the mentality to win 1 versus 1 kind of mentality, and it's all on you. So yeah. Well, once I transitioned to MMA, it's like because I saw the movies, that everybody says, oh, never back down. That's like the cliche,
Sure.
the movie. And I was like, man, I could see myself doing that one day. And I was like 12 years old at the time. So I was always had that MMA in the question. Like I feel like it was destined to happen. Just didn't know when. But when I was in after I graduated high school, I went to the University of Edwardsville in Illinois, SIUE, and I was trying to walk on that team and
Wrestling team.
Yep, on the wrestling team, and I couldn't really get in contact with the coach. I was always pushed around to like assistant coach, and I was like trying to get my foot in the door to get on the team, because I always thought, I'm like, man, I could definitely beat these guys. These guys do not look anything special, and I would always talk to my dad and just be like, man, I watch their practice. I'm like sneaking and trying to peek through the door. I'm like, they're not doing anything special, and ended up giving up on that. And I was like, all right, I was 19. I'm like, all right, it's time to give this MMA thing a go. And that's where I found Finney's and found all you guys. So
Yeah. So what made you pick Finney's?
I literally Googled MMA gyms near me.
It's perfect. This one's down the street.
Yeah, I was like, cool. And I literally put no thought into it. I was like, I literally think it was the first one that popped up, and I'm like, cool, that's where I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
So
You went to Lindbergh, right? Or no?
I went to Ladue.
Ladue,
I
okay.
went to Ladue High School, so I don't really. It's not that close. Lindbergh is close to Finney's, but I
Yeah.
didn't go there. But no, I went to Ladue, and
I was
like I
thinking
said,
of Max. Max went to Lindbergh.
he did.
That's what I
Yep.
was
Yes, he
thinking of.
did. Yeah, we ended up. I remember we and Max wrestle. We didn't wrestle each other, but our schools did. And I remember seeing him there. So
Yeah.
I'm glad I dodged that bullet.
Yeah, dodge that bullet. Dodge that.
He was.
Is Backy standing bullet?
He was heavier than I was. I think he wrestled 170. I think he ended up actually. I think he actually got beat that day. But we had our team was pretty stacked. But no, I remember wrestling his team though. But no, Finney's was the first first gym to pop up. I'm like, cool, that's where I'm gonna go try out. Me and my parents toured it. And I was like, I don't know why we're touring. This is where I want to go. I don't care. And literally, I think we toured, signed up, and I was at class the very next day. So
So did you just start right away getting into the striking stuff, or I know you used to come to the jiu-jitsu classes, because
Yeah.
that's all I ever did. I did a few kickboxing classes when I was there, but I primarily was just there for jiu-jitsu.
yeah, I don't remember what I think I was just everywhere. I'm pretty sure when I signed up for the membership there, I was like, I'm just gonna do everything.
everything.
Yeah, so I probably did gear more towards the striking because I had already
new, yeah.
I was like, this is something new. And that's kind of why I drifted off to kickboxing as well in my career, because I was like, man, I've wrestled forever. Like, this is a new challenge, something new to learn, and something I have to, start from square one with. And yeah, I just remember striking. I was really bad at striking, and I ended up coming in as a orthodox fighter when turns out I'm a southpaw striker because of the
You
way
lead with your right.
yeah, and I guess they didn't the coaches didn't pick up pick that up at first until I got into Eric's class, and he was like, "Didn't you wrestle?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Get in your stance for me." And I remember getting in my wrestling stance. He's like, "Yeah, you're literally a southpaw."
Yeah, well, you know.
And then it all started clicking. I was like, "Oh, okay, this makes sense now." But yeah, that's striking. And then after I got through all the striking classes, I'm like, all right, that's when I started going to jiu-jitsu classes, and I started seeing guys like you, Max, Adam Sell, all those guys, and I was getting beat up. But,
Yeah. Oh, dude, I was that was right around I think when you started there was right around when I started.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was there right there with you getting beat up.
Yeah.
So
I mean, now you're like what, purple belt? You probably tear me up on the mat now.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Do you not focus on jiu-jitsu as much?
I dabble. I don't focus on like gi jiu-jitsu as much. Like it's a lot of no gi that I do. Just
Yeah, for what you do.
For-
it makes
yeah.
more sense.
I definitely do want to get into more gi just to. I think having the belts is cool, and then it's like it's more technical. So I think I would learn a lot more moves because I got like I tell people I got like 3 or 4 moves, and if you beat those, we're just gonna be sitting there stalling. So
Well, you got time for that. Like you can do gi jujitsu late into your life. You know, like what you're doing right now is you got to kind of capitalize on this time while you're young. It's like you don't see pro MMA fighters into their late 30s typically. That's kind of, you kind of have a shorter lifetime, like lifespan on,
for sure.
Fighting professionally, whereas you can compete in jiu-jitsu for, I know plenty of guys in their late 40s and 50s that compete all the time. So it's like you can get into that later in life, and it is a much slower game than, slamming your bones into another guy's head. It's a little bit easier on the body and, well, some aspects. But so what was how long from when you started training at Finney's to when you had your first fight?
So it was pretty quick. So I would say 5 or 6 months. So I actually went behind Eric's back and got a fight on my own. And so Rob, he's the matchmaker at Finney's, I had gotten pretty decent on pads, and I looked, athletic and fast enough on pads that I guess he thought I was ready. And he had asked me, he's like, "Hey man, you want to take a fight?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Why not?"
Yeah.
I didn't know the rules that you had to, go through certain coaches, to get, corners and all that. I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And I ended up getting like 2 other guys from the gym to just corner me, and they agreed. And then I remember being there. Eric was there, and he's like, "What are you?" He's like, "You fighting tonight?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm the first fight of the night." And I just remember the look on his face. It's like how did this get past?
So it was like, how long from day one to when you're making that walk?
Like I said, it was like probably like not even. It was definitely like 6 months. It was
It was quick.
Quick.
Yeah, it was 6 months. At least you had I was glad it
little
wasn't
bit.
2 weeks.
Oh no! It was 6 months.
I took one class. I'm ready to go.
Dude.
Wait,
People try.
Oh
to
yeah,
do that.
dude!
It's
I just
insane.
I see red, and
Yeah.
you don't want to be in my path.
I have like it's crazy. Like I work. I teach classes at Eric's gym, and the amount of people, like teenage boys that'll come in like after seeing Jake Paul get a win over some elderly man, they're like, "Yeah, how long before I get a fight?" I'm like, "Brother, you just signed the waiver. Like you're not even a member of the gym. Like
You haven't got punched yet.
Yeah,
I was
let's see how sparring goes
Yeah.
on Saturday.
Like see how you throw a 1-2. Like it's just people jump the gun too fast, and that's something I would have told myself back then. Just 6 months is crazy. Like even like when people come in and just ask, "Well, when can I fight?" I tell them like, "Dude, you should." I always say a year, dude. Like at least a year just to
get a year of training under your belt. That's not a bad. That's
I mean,
not a bad
it's-
piece of advice in my opinion.
because it's not a game out there. Like you could literally be put this like I've seen people die in there. Like just like why do you want to risk like going in there to look cool to get a couple of Instagram followers? It's
Sure.
like it's not worth it.
No, not at all.
Well, how long have you been fighting professionally?
So I have my pro debut on in March. So I haven't had any professional fights yet. But
how long have you been competing in MMA and
I would say about 5-6 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say because you started around the same time. And
Yeah.
I've been training for 6 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a learning experience. Like I said, obviously, I mean, if you see my MMA record, it didn't start off as good. It didn't start off good, but
Hey, it's amateur, man.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
hey, you get,
They don't mean anything.
yeah,
you
you
know?
get to start over here in March, right? You got a
sure,
clean
yep,
record,
zero,
right?
0-0. But
Oh
There you
no.
go.
yeah, but the competitor in me I hated hearing that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, being like I took my first loss when I was 22, I believe, and I was just like devastated. I'm like, I didn't want to, you know, people were saying that same thing, like, it doesn't matter, man. Your record goes back to 0-0. And I'm just sitting there crying, like, it does matter. I just got beat, like, not used to losing. I don't like to lose and still have that mentality now. I just, you know, obviously I'm 25 now, so I grew, and, you know, I can, if I do lose, I definitely can take it, you know, better than I did when I was 20 and 22. So
Sure.
yeah.
So you had your first fight at 20, and then I guess I'm assuming that was COVID or
yeah,
right
so
before COVID,
that's
right?
and that's kind of what I always tell people that kind of screwed me. Like, I had my first fight, 20 years old, in January of 2020, I believe, and then that was the last event before COVID like really hit. Like, after that, they didn't have any more shows for like they didn't have a show for like a year, but I didn't fight until I didn't have another fight till I was like 22.
2 years later.
Yes, it was like that layoff, and I think that kind of, you know, screwed the momentum that I had. Like, I didn't really. I think once I came back from COVID, it was like having my debut again, and I think that's kind of what screwed me. I think if I would have had another fight like I planned on, like
6 months later
yeah,
or something. Yeah.
I had one scheduled after that. Like, I remember it was like January, and then it was like March, so I would have had that time, and then I'd been right back in there. But obviously, COVID hit, and they canceled like everything.
Everything.
Do you
yeah.
think it allowed you to get more technical in the gym and develop new skills to prepare you for the next kick
For
jump
sure,
off?
for sure. I definitely trained a lot. I think it just took me out of the killer mentality. Like, I didn't have I forgot what it felt like to compete, because it took so long off. Like, I mean, I was, you know, getting better in the gym, but, you know, I mean,
It's
almost
different.
Training.
Yeah,
It's
it's
different.
training.
It's
Like, you know, like I said, I was training all the time as much as I could with COVID, and we were still sneaking to the gym, obviously, but.
You know, so you had your second fight in 22, and then so were both of those fights amateur MMA fights?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it was it was all MMA. So I took my first loss 22. I was 1-1, and then I so stubborn. I begged my
Like, get
Eric,
me back in there.
Yep.
Yep.
In which terrible mistake. And I learned, like I said, all the things that I messed up on, I push on to the younger guys at our gym. Like, I begged my coach to get me back in there. I'm like, Eric, please, like, I gotta redeem myself.
Yeah, redeem yourself, dude. I feel the same way.
And you know, in combat sports, you know, you don't really there is no.
No do-overs.
Yeah,
man.
you
no do-overs.
done. Like,
yeah.
you know,
You're
NBA,
lost.
you know, basketball, you
Go
lose,
play them again, yeah.
next day you're playing another game. Nobody cares anymore. But, you know, MMA, kickboxing, whatever, you take a loss, you have that time off. Like, you got to kind of sit on that for a minute and work your way back. But I begged and begged. I think I got back in there maybe a month later.
Oh, fuck. Really fast.
Really fast for way better promotion. So I don't know if you're familiar with LFA,
Yeah.
but that's
Oh, shit. I know you fought at
LFA is
Okay.
like, you know, prestige.
Yeah, it's like
shows.
it's like the step like right below the
yep.
UFC. Like
And,
LFA pulls or UFC pulls a lot of guys
100%.
from LFA.
And you know, I knew that, and I think I put so much pressure on myself from that too. I'm like,
Were you the one in the factory?
yep.
Oh, okay. I was at that show.
Yep.
Oh, dude, actually, I remember the fight. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yep. So I was at that fight, or I fought there. Super, you know, I wanted my get back, and, you know, I was actually winning that fight. I was doing really well, and I just got caught in, I think it was a armbar triangle. Like, he had me in a triangle, then transitions to an armbar, and didn't know anything about arm bars and all of that. And I was getting the finish. I'm smashing the guy, waiting for the ref to pull off. I kind of got a little lax because I saw the ref, you know, coming close. I'm like, oh, he's going to stop the fight. Dude shoots his leg up around my neck, and I just kind of freak out a little bit. Yeah, I'm like, oh, crap. And once I felt my arm like getting ready to break, I was like, nah, I
want to train tomorrow.
yeah, you ain't break
this week.
You ain't gonna break my arm, man. Like, especially I'm not getting paid. But
yeah,
ended up losing that one. That was a heartbreaker too, because it's like, man, LFA, and it was like I was winning the fight and just dumb stuff, and then lost that one, and like it's same thing. I'm like, dude, I gotta get back in there. I just begging. It didn't happen as quick as a month, but it was like 2-3 months. I'm back in there, and I believe that was the FAC one, another big promotion.
Yeah.
In Kansas City. So it's just like big promotion to another big promotion, and if you know anything about the Kansas City guys, if you're coming from out of town, you're probably going to be fighting a hometown boy, and it's probably not going to go unless you kill them. You're probably not going to end up winning, man. He ended up, I think he finished me in the first or second round. I can't remember, but lost that one again, and then
That's 3 in a row.
3 in a row, and then you
know,
start to
Doubt
getting-
it. Like,
yeah,
should
you're
I
like
be doing this anymore? What am I fucking doing?
100%. I'm sitting there like, I don't think I am the fighter that I thought. I don't think I'm the athlete that, people were, hyping me up more than I'd hype up myself. They're like, oh yeah, you look like you have the look. Like, it's okay to have the look, but you got to be able to actually
Back it up.
translate. Yeah, like I know a lot of guys that are, shredded, ripped up, and then you get hit one time and they're crumbling, So
Sure.
yeah, I was just, people were gassing me up, and I had my head full, and I almost just felt like I was, letting all those people that had so much hope in me down. And it was the worst. And I took a little bit of time off, and I just trained again, and tried to get my head on straight. And I took a short notice fight for Nemesis against a guy who I 100% could have beaten, still can beat today. Probably I would beat him today. And I ended up, we went to a 3-round war, and I lost a split decision that people, everybody in there thought I won, but how that goes. Nobody
Sure.
who
Doesn't
cares?
matter.
Who cares what
Doesn't matter.
people in the crowd
There's only
think?
3 people.
Yeah.
There's only 3
Yep.
people in that crowd that matter what they think.
100%. And
Those are the
I've
judges.
since watched the fight, and I'm like, yeah, I definitely did enough to win, but it's like I said, you didn't get your hand raised. So after that, that's 4 in a row. I'm 1-4, and I'm just walking out of there bawling my eyes out. Like, people are trying to, pick my head up. My dad told me, like, telling me gonna be all right and not to give up. And it's like, in your head, you're like, how can
How can I
not?
not?
It's
4
like
fights in a row.
4 in a row. Like,
Yeah.
I have lost 4. Like, any hope that any of these people had in me is probably long gone out the window. At least the ones that truly care about you, that
Sure.
you think. But I took more time off. Like, I was to
So
the point.
when was that last?
I believe that was, I think it was like April of 22 or 23. I can't remember. I know. Yeah, it was like it's at least, it was 2 years ago, I believe.
April 23. Probably.
Yeah. And yeah, I took time off, and I was in my head, I was like, I'm done with this MMA thing. Like, I didn't even really have the hunger to fight anymore. I was still watching UFC and still, having a good time with my friends watching, but I was just like, yeah, that ain't gonna never be me. So I just didn't. Watching fights was different for me. I was watching UFC, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be there one day. And after, taking 4 fights in a row, you kind of watch sport UFC different. You're like, well, I don't really care about it that much because I ain't gonna be there. And took some time off, and Eric was like, hey, how about we try some, like,
But you're still training this whole time.
oh
so,
yeah, I'm still training, like, not as much as I did when I thought I
Preparing
was.
for a fight,
Yeah,
yeah,
I was like,
of course.
I'm popping in because my friends are still there. I still got friends there. That I
It's where you go to get a workout.
100%.
yeah.
Get a sweat. So I'm more so there, just being a body. Just getting a sweat, like you say, clearing my head. Just chatting it up with my friends. And but I guess I was looking real good one day, and Eric's like, hey, man, how would we try stand-up fights? Because there's only so many fights you can lose in Missouri as an amateur before they're like, hey, you can't
Yeah,
fight.
hang it up.
You literally can't fight anymore. Like, or you can't do MMA. You think it's like 6 fights in a row, and I was teetering. I'm
Sure.
2
4 in a
away.
row, Yeah.
So he's like, how about we let's try some kickboxing. Maybe that'll get some wins in kickboxing, and get that that hunger back, and get your confidence back. And I agreed, and ended up taking my first kickboxing match for Nemesis, and I performed so well. Like, I felt that flow state again. I could feel in the ring. I felt myself coming back. I started having fun with it, and I was like, man, that's what I needed, and that's literally what that kickboxing fight is literally what jump started me back to where I am now. Like,
It's amazing what a good coach can do for you.
100%.
Yeah.
And like I said, I give credit to Eric all the time. Like, he could have gave up on me too, and just been like, what that could have been. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. I'm done. On to the next. But he saw in me what I didn't see in myself for a long time, and now it's starting to come out, and I feel it. I'm starting to see it when I'm fighting and walking out to the ring. I'm just so confident. Like I tell people, like, at this